wholesaling tends to pull a lot of hustlers into it, right?
Right.
And hustle is going to get you places, but it's not a business strategy. It's a season. And I think we have to go from that hustler mentality, especially now, to that entrepreneur mindset where you're tracking your KPIs. Even if you're a solo operation, you still got to figure out what you're doing.
Hey there, good morning. Hey.
How are you?
Awesome, great. So excited to do this. And so how long have you been doing this?
Real estate since 2009.
Okay.
I started flipping in 2009, then I started wholesaling in 2012. I own a brokerage now. I became a broker during the interim. I'm an organizational psychologist, so I do a lot of coaching, consulting as well.
You're an organizational psychologist.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So let's talk about that first. So because what the heck does an organizational psychologist do in real estate?
I always get that question. So organizational psychology is pretty much the study of business and people, right? And how to get them together,
right.
How to put them together. We always hear the, right butts in the right seats and that sort of thing. It goes a little bit further than that. You hire based on behavioral strengths, but you build the business and the systems within the business in a matter that flow, right? There's a lot of. Have you ever experienced a company that you feel like it's not jiving? Like, okay, there's so many things misfiring here. Like sometimes you walk into a restaurant, right, and then you just feel like the operation is off. Mm-hmm. That's what it handles. That's that portion of it. How can you make the systems and the people in the company flow? So that's what organizational psychology is. In a nutshell, is putting all of that together. But in real estate, it's the same thing. When we step back and look at a business model, just an operating system altogether, you have very basic or not basic but similar principles across different verticals. So I've consulted and I've coached in different verticals, and it's a lot of times it's very similar things that we just have to kind of tweak to the industry, a little bit, but the principles, again, they tend to be very, very similar.
Business is business, so it's business. So that's always I would usually say, business is business is business. So at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what you do. It's the same thing. It's people, it's processes, it's procedures, it's those kind of things. And
right.
So that makes sense. So you went to college for that, I assume, right? You can't just do this. So. But you're also a firefighter, right?
Yeah, I began as a firefighter. So I became a firefighter at 19 in Yuma, Arizona, hometown. I've done a few things here and there.
So Yuma, then you went to college. You studied organizational psychology. Did you actually work as an organizational psychologist?
I was. They tried to recruit me for Honeywell and a couple of different companies, but I launched my first business when I was 21. Okay. So I was still at the fire department.
It's a well-paying job, I think, right?
Yeah, it pays well, but I've always been an entrepreneur at heart. So going through the fire department is really the only corporate type job that I've been in. I did consider going into the corporate space as an IO psychologist. The company was a great company. The offering was really good, but I didn't. At that point, I was building my business at the time, non-emergency medical transportation business. So I just, decided to bet on myself. Just one of those things.
No, it makes sense. So then, how come real estate? Did you always know it was real estate? Did you experiment with a bunch of stuff, or how did you? I
didn't choose the thug life. The thug life chose me, right?
Okay.
So I'm going through this process of building that first business, a transportation business, and I bootstrapped it. And a couple of years into it, I started getting some cash together, and I wanted to go invest it somewhere. I didn't know stocks. I didn't know any of the other investment methods. But I used to work construction when I was in high school. During the summer times, I'd go work on I'd be the framer guy, I'd be the masonry guy. So I used to work construction during the summertime, and then go back to school and do it again. Like during college and going through the academies, I did a lot of that as well. So it was like the thing I knew, right? I knew how to swing a hammer. Like, all right, cool, I'm gonna go flip a house. And I did. I bought a house cash, and I started rehabbing the thing. Again, this is 2009. So I did well in the purchase because we were just kind of getting out of that 2008, rut. And And by the time I sold it, though, like I did so many things wrong with that flip that I broke even. I think I made just shy of $2,000. I didn't lose on it, which was that's a big plus.
That's better than most people who do their first flip.
Yeah, right? But I didn't lose on it, which is really good. But I just didn't know what I didn't know. I was trying to figure out everything myself. I was doing my own contracting. The kitchen. No, I'll rehab it. I don't need to pay anybody to do it. So it would take me a month and a half to do the thing that somebody else would have done in like 3 days. I ended up, spending like 6 months, 7 months on that flip. But it was a very good learning experience.
And that was in Yuma too?
No, that was here. At that point,
right.
I was.
Well, that's a lucky kind of combination of things. Because 2009 we hit rock bottom in prices, but then we went up a little bit, but then we actually went back down. In 2011 we actually hit the very low. But so you basically bought at the bottom.
Yeah, I think if I had waited maybe another 2 months, I would have definitely lost on it.
Yeah.
So I bought when it was, and you're exactly right. I bought at that little point where properties were going up, and I didn't really get hit. It just had a 6 month learning experience with that thing, and I was side gigging it. It wasn't I was spending weekends at the house, kind of fixing things here and there, and I thought that was like the normal rehabbers process. Like, yeah, this is what people do for real estate and investments and business. Like, this is how it is. So I did a couple of that, a couple of those, and I got better on the next few until I started actually paying attention to the settlement statements, and I kept, one time I saw an assignment fee for like $18,000, and my spreads, my revenues weren't, they weren't big yet. They were like, I don't know, 10K, and I thought I was killing it. So I asked the guy, what is this $18,000 fee for? Like, it's an assignment fee. Like, that's what you pay the guy that brought you the contract. So I reached out to the guy, like, I paid you $18,000? They're like, yeah, that's the assignment fee. And I wasn't upset or anything. I was just like, well, tell me more about it. Like, how come, like, you made $18,000 and I made way less. And
yeah, you did all the work. He just basically found the deal and flipped it or passed it on to you. And he made 18 and you made 10. It's like, what's wrong there? Well, I need to learn what he's doing.
I need to figure that out. Yeah. So, I didn't know how to buy. I wasn't doing the rehabs right. I was spending way too much money on the rehabs, even though I was doing it myself. So at that point, I thought I got clever and I was leveraging hard money, which was kicking my butt. So there were so many things happening. Anyways, so like, no, this is how that works. And, the assignment, he kind of briefly explained. So I started listening to podcasts, and that's where I came across just the a few of them. Sean Terry was one of the first podcasts that I listened to.
2009, 10, 11, 12. There weren't that many podcasts about real estate out there. There were a few guys. And just you learn from whoever is there first, right?
Yeah. Todd Tobeck's podcast, it's the one I actually listened to, and Sean was on it, and he was talking about wholesaling and flipping. He mentioned that he was in Maricopa County here in Glendale, and I was like, oh, that's where I'm at. So I started following the guy, and game changer.
Yeah, very good. Right. And Todd is a good friend of mine too. Very good. So we all know each other kind of in the industry. So you start doing this in 2009 when the media is screaming, real estate is the worst thing in the world. Get out of real estate. It's the worst investment. It will never come back up. It will never be worth anything. It's a dumpster fire. Go away from it. How come you go against the grain and do that? Now, I understand we have done real estate since 2002. Yeah. When 2009 came, we were like, yeah, great. America is for sale. Let's go. But not everyone thinks like that. Yeah. You're at that moment, if you go back to your beginner's mind in that moment, how come you went against the grain and decided to actually jump into that?
I wish I could say it was, bravery or wits, right? But it wasn't. I was fearful and I was naive.
What? Sometimes it's like you gotta be, as we say, sometimes you gotta be like the bumblebee. The bumblebee doesn't know that it's theoretically, from a physics point of view, should not be able to fly.
Should not be flying, right?
But it still flies, right? So,
again, I just kind of went back to, I had, in my opinion, I had a lot of cash in the bank and I didn't want to lose it, right? Like I was thinking, I got to do something with this, otherwise it's gonna fade away. And I come from a very humble background. I grew up in a mobile home, type of deal. So it's to me, having that amount amount available, it was a big thing, right? One of those things that, made me nervous at the time. So I was like, I don't want to lose it. I mean, I'd rather put it into something it's gonna, generate, right? Now,
you're Hispanic from background, right?
Yes, Mexican.
So I know my wife is from Honduras. So Michelle, as many know already, her. And yeah, that's like real estate is definitely one thing you put your money in.
Yeah. It's
what do you do? That's safe.
Right.
It's reliable. You can always then down the road rent it. I know if I think of my wife's aunts and uncles, they all like built their house, paid it off, then had a little extra lot or so. They built another couple of houses there, rented those out, and that's their kind of like, you think like that's my retirement.
That's exactly what it culturally.
Think of real estate at that point.
Yeah, it's retirement. It's really what it is. Like that's how we pay for normally pay for the retirement. You buy a house and then you rent that one house.
Right.
So and then the other thing was I was in the transportation business. So at that point, I was able to secure contracts with the state, and I was getting paid directly by the state. So I wasn't really tapped into what was going on in the real estate market. Now, I mean, we do comps and we look at the market every single day, right? But back then, it just wasn't. I was in a different lane. Right. So, I mean, I was listening to kind of, hearing the stories, but I wasn't really paying too much attention. I was just concerned about not losing what I had, my nest egg over there. And then going back to the thing that I knew how to do, which was, I know how to fix a house. And then I ran some basic numbers on, okay, if I buy it for this price and I put this much into it, I'm going to be able to sell it for this much. It's like, all right, cool, let's give that a shot. I didn't account for holding costs. I didn't account for, fees and all
most people don't.
Exactly.
I mean, if you watch HGTV, they're like, oh, we bought it for $200,000. We put $100,000 in and we sold it for $350,000. We made $50,000. It's like, well, no, you didn't.
I'm an HGTV casualty. This is really what happened.
Right. Exactly. They don't just show all the different things because it would make the deal not look as good anymore, not holding costs and all those kind of things. Now, if you have the cash to just pay for it, then these numbers are actually correct. But most people don't. Most people go borrow the money. But let's fast forward to this recession right now.
Yeah.
Right. So we obviously did a little research. We found that clip. You want to play that quick, Patrick, quickly? This one here.
Everybody thinks this industry is dead. This is an unpopular opinion, but in my case, we're prepping because there's going to be a lot of opportunity opening up. If you're positioned right, you're going to be able to capitalize on that kind of stuff. If you're not, if you don't have that tenacity to go through the shifts right now, to go through that adaptability, you're not going to be able to sustain. You're not going to be able to last enough to capitalize on that opportunity that's coming.
So now you basically stumbled into like the best time in our lifetime to buy real estate, which was 2009, 10, 11, because real estate was up for sale. You could get it for pennies on the dollar. And then I don't know did you hold on to any of the real estate? Did you just flip it all?
No, I flipped. I flipped and I sold and I started wholesaling. Okay.
Which is fine. But now we're in a situation where prices in of houses again starting to slide, particularly in the states like they're first up and first down, like Arizona, like Florida, Vegas, like California, Vegas, and things like that. So what's your advice right now? What do you mean by that video?
So I think how many times have you talked to somebody who says, I wish I knew in 2008 what I know now? Right. Yet you Yet you see, a ton of people still, be reluctant. Some people who have experience, right? I feel like we can get bottled into what's going on as far as the media, what's happening, and get that sensation of fear to kind of creep in. But the reality is that we have the ability to get positioned for opportunity coming up, I feel. And it's not that I'm trying to predict, what the market is going to do or anything. It's a matter of positioning. When you're talking to sellers on a regular basis, when you're reaching out to people, you're going to be first of mind. Mm-hmm. And what happens when people can't pay their mortgages? Right now, we're seeing delays in car payments. Repossessions are creeping up. What's next? Properties, right? We're seeing, that tendency in foreclosures and whatnot. So if you look at credit card debt, if you look at the things that are before the house, that'll give you a leading indicator for the future. What we're doing right now is paying attention to the conversations that we're having with sellers, meaning that a lot of people that were not open to you even pondering the idea of an offer on the property, or 3 months ago, now they're calling us back. Hey, listen, that offer you made me 3 months ago, I'll take it. It was like, oh, yeah, but the numbers have changed.
Yeah.
However, we can come in and revisit it. So that sort of thing, I mean, that shows you a trend, right? If you're tracking, for example, we go back to the systems and the processes. If you're tracking the metrics and the information that you're going through in your business on a daily basis, it's a very, very valuable tool. And you can use that to just kind of shape your business based off of the tendencies that we're seeing. And that's really what we're seeing. We're seeing that the conversations that were not happening 3 months ago are starting to happen, as of, maybe a month ago.
Now, why is that? Is that people getting into trouble? Do they lose their jobs? Do they have to move? What do you find in your business is the main reason why people picking up the phone and calling you back?
It's a combination of both. I feel it's a combination of both. I feel like people are over leveraged. We went through a period where
most of them have locked in an interest rate that's like ridiculously low. So if they still have their job, this shouldn't have to be able to sell, right? It's like, and if they bought 2-3 years ago, they have so much equity still in there, particularly in those markets where prices skyrocketed, that they still have a little bit of runway before that equity is starting to be eroded, if it even gets to that point. I'm not a proponent that we're going to have the world's biggest crash. The fundamentals, in my opinion, don't say that, but prices did go up in like the Phoenix market, in the Vegas market, in parts of LA, or in LA, in Idaho, in Florida, and you name it, in Dallas and other places. They went up like 30-40% in a matter of like 12 to 18 months.
Right.
Well, that 30-40% needs to come down first for the people who bought before that run up to be in any kind of trouble. The people that bought at the end of the run up, those are the ones that potentially get in trouble, but only if they have something happen in their life that forces them to sell, if they have to move because their job relocates them, or if they have some kind of other issue, situation, death in the family or something, that divorce, and you name it, that forces them to sell. So is those the ones that you see, or is it just the ones that even bought 3 years ago that's sitting on $200,000 in equity, of which perhaps $80,000 is gone now, but they're still sitting on a lot, but they're still considering selling?
Yeah, so there's equity. There's equity out there. There's no question about that. There's a lot of equity. That's what creative financing works, right? If you can get a creative financing deal at 3% as opposed to a 7% now, I mean that's a little gold mine right there. But if you take a step back and you look at general affordability, and in terms of everything else, not just the real estate market, right? Yeah, interest rates go up. So the people who are getting into the market right now, they're not getting the best, bang for their buck per se. The people who bought a while back, they may be sitting in good spots, but what about everything else, right? One of the things is to we have fuel prices going up. We have just regular groceries going up.
Of course, people are spread thin because of inflation and all this kind of stuff. That plays a big role. Now, my question is mainly like, who is calling you? Is it the people that just bought, the people who bought a while ago? Is it the people who lost their job, the divorced people,
gotcha.
the people who is it that's calling you back?
I mean,
what segment of
situational sellers all the time, right? With divorce, relocation, that sort of thing. But one of the right now, what's happening is people who hold portfolios. Like they're actually, some of the hottest leads that we're getting. People who hold portfolios because they were thinking of, getting, selling the portfolios or doing something like that. Now they're seeing the downturn. We're working with a portfolio in Tampa actually right now. They had 135 homes. We're negotiating 76 of them.
So you're not just doing this locally. You're doing this in different markets?
Right. Well, my backbone is Maricopa County. That's Phoenix, Phoenix. But we'll tap into different markets, and I coach, so I have a lot of students that we JV partner up, and we work deals together and that sort of thing. So, the particular situation on this, it's obviously it's somebody who doesn't live in the property. They're investors. They're getting to the point where they're 65. They're older than 65 years old, and they have a bunch of properties. So they don't want to wait for another cycle to go through, right?
I see.
And it's like, hey, listen, I'd rather just sell what I have right now and not deal with this thing for, wait another 10 years of being a landlord. Right. And we've seen that particular scenario in a couple of different situations already.
All right, cool. So that's interesting. That's not what you automatically think of. Right?
Yeah.
You automatically look at through, the ones that, as I mentioned, the ones that are potentially in trouble are the ones that just bought and now something major happened in their life that's unexpected.
I think we mostly think about financial triggers. Like, okay, they're not, they're not going to be, they're in a tight, spot. They can't make the payment or that sort of thing. But we also have to look at situational triggers, right? And societal triggers. I mean, what's going on? Like, what are the generations that are going on out right now, and they want to just retire and live a peaceful life as opposed to deal with tenants and toilets and all kinds of stuff, right? Like, that's one of them. How is it impacting those particular avatars of sellers, and then what areas are they most predominant on? So,
all right, very cool. I like that. Now that makes sense. Now, how do you go about your business? Do you do direct mail? How do you get your leads?
Two things. We're cold calling and we're sending texts.
All right.
Cold call and SMS. Yeah.
Cold calling, SMS. So you get lists of what do you typically focus on in terms of lists? Is it like high equity, free and clear?
We have the typical lists that we tap into, absentee owners, just because they're massive lists. But some of the most profitable lists are going to be the code violation list. And I like the property avatar list. So we'll go, for example, one thing that we do is, especially if we're looking at a different market where I'm like here, I shoot at everything, right? I pretty much own the county when it comes to data. But it's, if we go into a new market, and we're looking at the most sold type of property. What do you have? Is it a 3-bed, 2-bath? Is it between 250,000 and 350,000? What's the avatar of the most popular property in that particular area? So we'll look at the avatar and we'll pull of the property, not the sellers. We don't care about the seller information. We'll pull lists from that particular avatar. So we'll pull a list of thousands of that particular, type of property within that price point range, which is the most popular. Now we'll market to that. What happens is that it's kind of like a reverse approach to finding leads, because you're going after the property that is gonna sell, right? In that that type of area, and you have probate people that make it into that list, because we're not filtering sellers. We're filtering the property itself. You have probate people, you have absentee owners, you have owner occupied, you have everything that just kind of jumps in there, and a lot of times those people are skipped because the tendency is or the indoctrination per se is go after the absentee owner only, go after the these seller type of avatars as opposed to properties.
Yeah, so I probably received text from you.
More. I'm sorry.
That's all right, because our properties are all smack in that thing. They're in Maricopa County. I mean, the houses that we own, we don't own many houses, but we have like 15 here in town now.
Do you have anything you want to sell?
No, we don't. We don't. Actually, I'm one of these guys. Well, let's talk to me about 15 years from now when I'm like in my 60s or so, and then I might be the one that's like, hey, let me sell my portfolio, because I might not want to go to another one of these cycles again.
You just went into my follow-up campaign right now. So.
Right there we go. Yes. No, makes perfect sense. And actually, it's very similar to what we do in the land flipping side of things. Like when we initially started doing just tax delinquent property owners. Yeah. Because most of the land we go after is free and clear anyway, and most of them are absentee owners. I mean, by definition, the absentee owners, because they don't live on the land, but even like out-of-state owners. So, but then we realized that the pie is much, much bigger. And so now we go after all the land within certain criteria, and it has the out-of-state owners in it, and it has the tax delinquent owners in it, and it has the probate people in it, and it has all of this in it. So you come across all these subsets by just going after the bigger pie, and you're doing the same thing. It makes perfect sense.
I think a lot of people sleep on that. I mean, it's normal, right, to look at even if you go to any of the services out there, they'll give you a seller avatar, but what about the property avatar, right? So that's one. And then one thing that I thought of as you were saying that is another one is the 60-day lates list. Right. That's another one that's really good.
That's probably a highly fought after list too, because everyone in the brother gets that, I would assume.
Yeah. Well, you can get in certain places. Some of the title companies will provide the 60-day lates, and what that is anybody they're not in pre-foreclosure yet. They're 60-day lates or 60 days late on their mortgage, so they're underway over there. But they haven't hit that blast.
Oh, so it's an earlier list than what everyone else gets. Everyone else gets the 90-day or the pre-foreclosure list, and that's when the masses of postcards and letters hit their home. But you're getting that 30 days early or 30 to 60 days early. Cool. How do you get that list?
We go straight to the title company.
Okay.
Our title company provides that. Talk to Fidelity National.
right.
Fidelity Title. It's
Fidelity be warned, you're gonna get a title phone calls now.
There you go. Just tell them Rafael sent you. And so they're really good. I mean, and title companies, I think one misconception is that, especially for the people who are getting started, is like, oh, we're gonna go bug people. We're gonna go bug a title company. No, you build your power team, and title companies have deep pockets. They spend a lot of money on data and information like that. So we can lock deals and bring them the escrows. Like that's what they want. That give and take relationship. And I mean, I've relied on title companies forever, especially for the tougher type of lists. At this point, I'll look at my inbox and I get 60. Whenever the 60-day list comes out, goes automatically into my inbox. I just forward it to my team, and then they start prospecting to it. So
very cool.
Yeah, it's a really cool strategy.
Good. So now let's talk about quickly about your education business. So you teach people there for wholesaling, I assume? All right.
Yeah.
And how is that right now in this market right now with the market going down, particularly in certain markets and the markets you're operating right now? How are you dealing with that in wholesaling? Is it like a little bit like catching a falling knife? You have to go extra deep low in order to get those deals. How do you deal in the current environment?
Yeah, so you're talking about my wholesale business?
Yeah.
So I mean, one of the key things is to not slow down on the marketing side. The first cut that people start doing is in the marketing side. They'll pull back from, oh, you know what? I gotta let go of the. I'm not gonna buy data anymore. I gotta let go of the VAs. I gotta. But it's a big mistake. Everybody's doing the same thing. The tendency is also to pull back during the holidays because it's the holidays. Like we get the biggest, fattest deals, over the holiday season. Just historically, November, December are usually the fattest deals. Less leads, but bigger deals. Now, what we're doing right now is we're really fine tuning. So we did a couple of things, right? We did step back, and this is a transition. It's really what it is. It's a transitionary period before we get positioned right. Like that's all it is. It's not the first time it happens. I mean, you've seen it.
Right, I agree. Yeah.
And people freak out. Just understand that you don't have to freak out if you mitigate some of the risk that's already in there. Be very smart about what's actually paying you. Find out what your cost per lead is, your cost per deal, your cost per prospect, and work your budget around that type of stuff. We have wholesaling tends to pull a lot of hustlers into it, right?
Right.
And hustle is going to get you places, but it's not a business strategy. It's a season.
Right.
I always say that hustle is a season. It's not a business strategy. And I think we have to go from that hustler mentality, especially now, to that entrepreneur mindset where you're tracking your KPIs. Even if you're a solo operation, you still got to figure out what you're doing. You have to track your calls. You have to track your marketing. You have to figure out where your leads are actually coming from.
But buyers are still buying.
Yeah.
Like your rehabbers are still buying.
They are going to buy. They're going to buy a lot more aggressively. So one of the pivots that we did, for example, we'll look at a property. And this is a temporary adjustment that we're doing on our thresholds. We'll look at a property and we'll shave 10% off of the airb right out of the gate. So if we run comps on a deal that we're looking at, and the deal's worth $400,000, right? In our heads is worth $360. Yeah. And then from that $360, we'll start, figuring out our aggressive offer price.
So you're basically right away building in an additional 10% reduction, because by the time that rehabber buys it, rehabs it, and sells it, he can most likely only sell it for 10%, potentially 10% less than what he does right now. That provides him security. Now,
yeah, and then still working. You still got to work in the offer threshold, times 70% minus.
But so you end up with a price that might be a little bit hard to accept for a buyer, because we're also in this period right now, or perhaps at the tail end of the periods, hopefully, that I call the gap. Yeah. The gap is basically when the sellers are still expecting this and the buyers are willing to pay that.
They haven't gotten the memo yet. Yeah.
And the sellers haven't gotten the memo yet. Exactly right. And that usually takes about 4 to 6 months before that adjusts. So I think we're at the tail end of it probably right now. But do you still see that happening?
Yeah, we're still seeing that. That's where the calls come in.
That's when the 3 months later call come in. So
hey, listen, I realized that that offer was a killer offer at the time. Like, but the offer is gone. So we are seeing that. And when it comes to acquisitions, it's just one of those things. You're gonna have to go through more leads. That's why marketing is it's still important, and you have to dive deeper. Like it's not really rocket science, and it's not sexy, right? It's not this a magical solution to the problem. It's just going deeper into the stuff that makes sense for end buyers. For us, making that shift and going deeper on it's one of the things. At the end of the day, like if you look at, if you have something that is going to solve the seller's problem. A lot of times they don't even come to us as wholesalers. They don't come to us because they're not going to get the best deal. They know that if they fix the property, they go on the MLS, they're going to get the best deal. Like that's going to be top dollar. Whatever the market is dictating, right? It's going to be top dollar. When they come to us, there's situational stuff that's happening. There's circumstantial stuff that's happening. There's physical stuff that's happening. They have other types of problems, and I think it's one of the things that it's often overlooked. People don't dive deep into that. Focus on price, and this is something that I used to do when I got started. Like I figured, like I got to give them the highest price, otherwise I'm not going to get the deal. A lot of times they don't. If you ease their issues with, we're working a really good deal right now. Actually, we got it under contract last week, so we're selling that in the process of displaying. But it's a really good deal in Mason. The problem is that the house, the seller passed away. Now the sons have the property, and it's cluttered. Has a ton of stuff. The guys look at it; they don't have time. They're running around with their families and their business and their work and everything. They don't have time to come in and actually put the effort into this house. It's like, don't worry about it. We'll take whatever you want from the house. We'll figure out the rest of it. So to us is being the problem solver between that and then the buyer. If we get a buyer who doesn't want all that mess in there, that's fine. We'll fork out a couple $1,000. We'll clean it up. We'll do go through the solution, right? But there's so many different reasons why people will sell a property.
Yeah, I mean,
for a discount.
Message here is people are getting stuck up on the price when price is not everything. It's relationship, it's ease of transition, it's making it easy for them to move on. I mean, I have friends in the house flipping industry, or wholesaling industry. They even help them get a rental apartment or something like that.
Oh yeah, we do that stuff all the time.
So that they have an easier time getting out of the property, and all those things are play. I mean, if money would be all that matters to the seller, the property wouldn't look like it looks.
Right.
The property would be in good shape. They would optimize it. They would do everything on it. Price is not everything that matters.
Yeah.
Yes. Great. So now you have a nice office. You have a meeting space. You do meetups and things like all this kind of stuff. You do coaching. So how does somebody get a hold of you? What's
I'm pretty active on social media.
Okay.
I'm pretty active on social media, so you can find me on IG at Rafael Cortez CEO. I do have a free course, Wholesaling 101. It's a full breakdown of what wholesaling is. It's a Wholesaling 101 course, and you can find that at reiwholesaling.com. Shoot me a DM if somebody wants to have a conversation, whatnot. Shoot me a DM. But yeah, I mean, on that website, I have information about the coaching program and everything else that I do. I do have meetups, free meetups in my office every month. They're just fun. I have a lot of people from the Valley. People come in and fly in as well to have just conversations and then do presentations on stuff that's relevant, that's happening now. So I do that every Wednesday, last Wednesday of the month. In my office too. So
that's wonderful. So thank you very much for being here. And with that, that's a wrap. Now, guys, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, or if you're watching this on iTunes or listening to iTunes, make sure you give us a 5-star review. Make sure you subscribe to it. And if you're watching it on YouTube, make sure you also subscribe, hit that notification bell, and I'll see you in the next episode, in the next session.